That was weird. I don't know what... Did you guys see that? And I'm playing red? What in the world is going on? Welcome back to another video, my friend. I'm Blake and you're you, and this is Simic Flash in Explorer, which happens to be my favorite version of any kind of deck that can be played in a 60-card format. There was an original Simic Flash in a standard format when Nightpack Ambusher first came out, and I absolutely loved it. So I'm really excited to show you guys my version of this deck in Explorer right now. I think it's pretty good. It's not a top tier deck by any means, but I think it always has potential, and let me show you the main gameplay. So the biggest thing is getting to 4 mana. So on turn 2, we really want to be dropping down a Paradise Druid or an Incubation Druid, both of which can tap for any mana. Paradise Druid is slightly better just because it does have that hexproof, and that's all so that we can set up the turn 4 hold up mana to either play a Nightpack Ambusher or a Frilled Mystic. Frilled Mystic is a 4-drop that comes in with flash and counters a spell, creates an amazing 2-for-1 as a 3/2 body, or if they don't play something very important, we play the Nightpack Ambusher, which if you're not familiar, it's a 4-mana 4/4 with flash. It comes in, it gives other wolves and werewolves you control +1/+1, but the kicker is at the beginning of your instep, so at the end of your turn, if you didn't cast a spell, you get to create a free 2/2, which is a 3/3 as long as this stays out. So basically you get your Ambusher out, and then you stop playing spells on your turn almost exclusively, and then you just hold up mana and you start making wolves, and you control the game with a large suite of counter magic. So we're running 4 Syncopate. I think Syncopate is really good. It exiles a card and can also be used on turn 2 if you really need to hold up in case they have a big threat when you're on the draw. 2 Jawari Disruptions. This allows us to run 22 lands and play 2 of these. I think works pretty well. 4 Make Disappears I also think is quite good. In the late game, you can sack your Druids because they're not super needed, and it gives you a 2-mana counter unless they pay 4. Not too bad. 2 Omen of the Seas. I'm just missing a few Memory Deluges. I would probably just run 4 Memory Deluge, but I've only got the 1 copy, so instead I'm running 1 Memory Deluge, 2 Omen of the Seas, and 1 Thassa's Intervention. Intervention is also quite nice. I think you could make the argument for this being able to counter or draw you spells is quite good. And then we're also running 4 copies of Divide by Zero. It does give us good pacing by bouncing something, but then it also gives us access to this sideboard where we're running Environmental Sciences, Teaching of the Archaic, Containment Breach, and a couple other cards you can see here just in case we need a little extra help. And then at the very top end, if we do get set up and we're looking for just an extra little oomph on the top end, I like running 2 copies of Wren and 7. Allows you to either dump a bunch of lands onto the battlefield or create a really giant tree folk, or also 2 Alrund's Epiphanies. Pairs nicely with the Ambusher to let you attack with a couple wolves 2 turns in a row, gives you those 2 birds, and the deck is pretty sweet. So let's jump into some games on the ladder. I'm really excited to show this deck off. Let's see what it can do. Okay, so jumping in, the cards you choose to take or not take, or the hands you start with, are quite important, but we do see 2 lands and a Druid. That's good enough, especially on the draw. This deck is not wonderful on the draw. You definitely want to be on the play, but getting that extra card will set us up for a pretty nice turn 3 Ambusher, probably as long as we can get to that 3rd land. So let's see what we can do here against our opponent, Dark Fortitude. Just patiently wait and see what they're gonna do. So also, because I have the options of the 2 Druids, I did mention I'm gonna definitely drop the Paradise Druid. Just is harder to remove. They would have to play some sort of sweeper, which no one's gonna do that against a single spell. And it looks like they might not even gonna be showing up to play. So we'll see what we do here. Your go. Okay, they did finally show up, so we are going to get to play. We'll just put in the breeding pool tapped, and now we're gonna see what happens. Okay, we might be running some sort of mirror match here. Okay, now on the draw, it is a touch risky to just allow them to get their 3-drop, but I do think that is the correct play and that that's what we need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and just slap down this Paradise Druid, and it looks like maybe I'm the one having some trouble here. Oh. That was weird. I don't know what... Did you guys see that? And I'm playing red? What in the world is going on? Okay, and our hand is completely different. I've never seen anything like this. Has anyone ever seen this? I literally have no idea what's going on right now. This is the most confusing game I've ever played. I have to show you guys this, so you're going to see this in the recording, no matter what happens here. I guess you can have it while I draw. I would not have kept this opening hand. It has nothing for me to do. This is bizarre. This is so bizarre. I'm looking for a creature. Either my Ambusher or the Frilled Mystic. Ideally, I guess next turn I'll counter whatever they have. Okay, Mystic, that's good. That is a good thing. It looks like the game's working again, I guess. So we'll go Island, pass, counter whatever they do this turn, and then hold up and counter whatever they do the next turn, I think is the way to go. Wow, that was just blew my mind what in the world was happening there. That was quite strange. So we see a bunch of 1-drops, so this could be some sort of Cavalcade deck. It's probably Rakdos, so they're probably going to have some sacrifice shenanigans. I don't exactly know. Okay, this is pretty great to see the Devil here. I think we'll go ahead and make Disappear over Syncopate, because Syncopate can hit bigger things later, where this struggles to do that a little more. So I think somehow, after all of that, we're still kind of fine. Weirdly enough. Even against this aggro deck. Is it going to switch and make this a totally different spell now? Oh no. Oh no, team. What is going on? Okay. Okay. I guess we can keep playing. I'm going to have to definitely restart Arena after this, but let's see if we can somehow get through this match and survive. This is wild. Absolutely wild. I really liked this card in Ravnica Allegiance. That was one of my favorite sets to draft. It's really the first set that I learned how to actually draft well, and I had so much fun. So this brings back some fond memories of that. Frilled Mystic also from that set. So Ravnica Allegiance is a favorite of mine just because of the time. That's when I got really on Arena and started drafting, and that was a lot of fun. Oh gosh, guys. This is brutal. I've never seen this happen before. I almost wish it would either just kick me out or let me play. Like, let's decide what's happening here. I would love to resolve the spell. Yeah, I didn't know you had to click to resolve. Oh no, no, no. What? Guys, this is so broken. I'm still going to show you this because it's funny, but I'm just going to close this out and we're going to try again. See you in a minute. So, side note, I did forget that I accidentally clicked best of 3. I meant to just jump into some simple best of 1, but we're going to play Dark Fortitude again and see if he's actually playing the mono red deck. So, or the Rakdos deck, I mean. Oh boy. Okay, so jumping into a match here, we see a pretty good start. I mean, turn 2 Druid is certainly the best. Now, not having an Ambusher or a Frilled Mystic is not the best thing, but it's not the end of the world either way. We do have Wren 7 at the top, and with a bunch of Druids, we could eventually get there no problem. Pretty good to get this thing out early and start slapping down a bunch of extra lands, clearing those lands out of the deck. So I think the deck should still be okay. Certainly the play is Paradise Druid here. it looks like we're going up against an Esper deck here. Potentially Esper Greasefang. That deck is pretty hot right now, especially in Best of 1. I think Esper might be a little more popular than the Mardu version. Don't quote me on that, though. So let's see. I'm definitely predicting Esper Greasefang. We do see it's certainly Esper, and the question is now, is it Greasefang? So we got a couple options here. I think playing another Druid and guaranteeing that we can play Wren and 7 next turn is the way to go, and it still holds up a Syncopate if they tap out, which is a good chance they do. It would hit. We would be able to hit a Greasefang there if they put it down, which they probably won't this early with nothing in the graveyard, even if that is the deck they're playing. So I feel like we're in a pretty solid position here. So they've got all their colors set up. So I was planning to do this, but with them having counter magic up, I think we're better off to wait and play on their instep. So now that we have the Ambusher, if I didn't draw this, if I would have drawn anything but this or the Mystic, I probably would have just played out for the Wren and 7, make a move. But I think for now, with the Ambusher in hand, we can play slow, and we have a lot of options if we need to do some shenanigans to them. And getting out an Ambusher with their field empty puts on a lot of pressure. Storefront. I don't think the storefronts are really good enough to be played in Explorer. I think with access to shocks and pathways that you don't really need to be running any tap lands. So I don't think, I mean, if you're on a budget, sure, you can run the storefronts. It's just pretty nice. That's fine. We get a counterspell out of the way. They're tapped out, so now I feel a lot more confident dropping this down. Then we don't have any lands in hand, so I think we just start +1ing here. Wow, no lands. That is crazy. That is crazy. I really just wanted to grab a couple lands so that we could slap down like 2 or 3 lands onto the battlefield next turn. That was wild. Now we are tapped out, but ball is in their court. Okay, that's fine. We're getting cards out of their hand. Wren and 7 not essential to the game plan by any means. Okay, so we have a couple ways we could go here with 6 mana. We could put down a Druid. Foretelling is not bad, I think, at this point. I'm leaning towards maybe Foretelling and then just holding up. I don't think another Druid particularly helps us. I think I want to be able to hold up a pretty big Syncopate or a Divide by 0 for this turn. I think either one of those are pretty solid options. So we're going to do that and put Auron's Epiphany in the zone of being played soon. Learning is also not too bad here. I think just because they're tapped out, the way to go is to Syncopate. Divide by 0 does let us learn there, but this can hit anything at any time. Now that they're tapped out, I think we go ahead and just take an extra turn and get our 2 birds. Give us a chance at hitting another land, and it gets us another draw. So I think we're in a pretty good position now. Now at this point, 6 mana specifically doesn't do us much because we're going to plan on playing one of these for sure. So we can go ahead and get this extra Druid down, and now we're in a pretty good spot. And I'm feeling pretty confident about our odds here. Scarab God, 1 mana open. We will definitely hit that with the Mystic. That's a big spell we can take a 2-for-1 on. And now we've got quite a bit of damage ready to come his way. So because these, I need 5 + 2 to cast both of these, I think I'll send in 1 Druid just for that extra little damage, and then we'll hold up 7, 4, and 3. Did I do that right? Yep. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And now we are in a really powerful position. This is exactly what the deck does. It kind of maneuvers you into a powerful spot, and that's without even getting your Ambusher out and throwing up a bunch of stuff. You can have your card draw spell, no problem. They will get a discard. This was not Esper Greasefang. This is just Esper cool stuff, I guess? Scarab God. It's an Esper Scarab God card spell deck. Okay, and then... what do we need? We don't need anything in particular. We're in a pretty good spot. I don't even need to cast the Exhibition next turn. They do have more cards in hand, so I'll take a Teachings. And then we'll go ahead and flash this in. And I actually think I'd rather just have the Wolf. Let me think about that, though. We'll do our damage first. Another Wolf, or if an opponent has more cards than you, draw cards, draw 3. If an opponent has at least 4 more cards than you. So this would be draw 2 or get a Wolf. I think we know that's coming. I think we go ahead and draw because we know the Scarab God might be coming. That wasn't great. 1, 2, 3, 4. That doesn't help us. We'll just put one down tapped. I think we're fine. Now I maybe... Yeah, we still have enough to adapt here if we want to just let the Scarab God go, or if he gets it down without our Make Disappear. And actually, we have enough to disappear and get rid of a bird or a druid or something. So this is where Make Disappear still hits a lot of things, even in the late game, because countering, unless they pay 4, is pretty good. It's a pretty decent spell. And we'll just go ahead and adapt, tap out to get some extra counters. Why not? The game should be over at this point. But we'll see if he has anything at the very end here. Okay. He does have something. Does have something there for us. Oh, several somethings. We've still got enough damage, and he's tapped out. So I believe we just swing in the house, and that's the game. So that's how the deck goes. Let's get another one in and see what fun things we can find. Okay, so looking at this one lander, we're just never going to keep that. We don't have the things to do with that. Now this I'm feeling much better about. Now the question here is, we're certainly keeping 3 lands and the Ambusher and the Druid. So the question is, do we keep Syncopate or Divide? I think we just keep the Divide because being able to learn later is pretty solid. Because turn 1 is nothing, turn 2 is Druid, turn 3 is really hoping to be the Ambusher. But it doesn't necessarily have to be the Ambusher. Love getting Paradise Druid out early with the Hexproof is lovely. It is lovely. Okay, go Shintai. This is the +1/+1 counter, but only if you pay for it. So that'll be a really good target for Divide. So feeling pretty good. We'll see if we're playing an actual Shrine deck or add X mana at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase. Okay, I think we're fine. They're going to try to accrue a bunch of value by getting a bunch of shrines up, but we don't care about that. If we're lucky. Okay, so he's just going to the instep. Not going to be able to pay for that. And already we're in a lovely position here. We do have 5 mana up next turn, so we can foretell and then prepare to divide as well. We are in a great position against this deck. Platinum, you still don't see like top tier meta decks. You see some weird stuff like this once in a while. I think this next season I'm gonna make a push for Mythic so that you guys can really see what the decks can do. But I mean, they do have 5 mana here all of a sudden, so maybe I'm sleeping on a deck here that is better than I'm giving credit for. 6 mana. I mean, if they play a 6-drop. Yeah, I mean, we just bounce this to their hand and learn, and they're really in trouble now. What do we want? Next turn we'll have 5 mana available. I probably just go and look for a land if I don't draw one, so that we can get ready for Epiphany. Epiphany is quite nice here. Now that's making it interesting here, that's for sure. Let's go to combat first. See if he wants to trade for my wolf. He does not. Makes sense. Then let's do environmental sciences. Get my land. Probably an island. We want to play at instant speed here. Drop that down. We've got 4 mana available. So I think we go ahead and get another one of these down. And then we've got an Omen, and he doesn't know if we are holding up counter magic or not. I think the wolves are going to get less good this turn. This is also a shrine. So this card's pretty cool whenever you have even one other shrine up. It's pretty sweet. The deck is certainly slow, but is going to accrue a lot of value. My deck doesn't have a ton of removal, but the bounce spells are really all we've got if we don't counter things. So we might be in a little bit of a weird position here. So this guy has Death Touch and then is going to get to start to kill a lot of stuff. He knows we don't have counter magic at this point. I would love some counter magic. Probably not that one. Syncopate's pretty good next turn, I think. He can block. Now that gets interesting. Oh, I see. This is a smart deck, but probably too many pieces to be very consistent. Creating some awkward blocks for me. Let's go ahead and use the Epiphany, see if I can draw anything. Get our birds to start getting in there for some damage. Now, actually, I think I need to swing this in because this is going to start blowing up stuff real soon. And if he wants to trade these or these, I'd take it, honestly. Yeah, I think that's still fine. It will not get these blown up and tick some of his stuff down just a touch. We'll go ahead and pay the 2 life and get in our 2 damage and then be ready to counter anything and everything plus the scry to set up hopefully a better next turn. The deck is doing just enough to hold us off. I think we can still pull it through, but we'll have to see what he does here. Double counterspell in hand is going to be helpful. 7 mana. He might be playing the 5 mana, the 5 color. This might be some kind of weird 5 colorness. Ooh. I don't love seeing this one. Because to counter it, I will have to pay X6. Put a +1/+1 counter on target shrine for each shrine. So that's going to give him a lot. How much do I need to keep up to do this? I need to keep up 3, so 1, 2, 3. So I can do X5 and see if he wants to use his whole turn for this one spell. Leave up. Ooh. Okay, I can do X4. Okay, I'm going to do X4 and see if he wants to use his whole turn for this one spell. And the reason I'm doing X4 is because that will make him take pretty much his whole turn to play this one, and then I can leave my scry, which I think is pretty important. Or just in case he would let this go and he would play the 5 color thing, then we can still syncopate that. So X4 doesn't completely negate it, but I think it's still a pretty good, smart option for us. Okay, so this makes me think he might have the 5 color spell. This one, exactly what I was worried about. And now we do X2 and stop the real spell. So that still worked out okay. We didn't get to scry, but I think we played that as smart as we could, and we ended up getting to counter both of those spells. So that was really sweet. Same thing, we're just chipping in, and he gives us the game. So this deck, I mean, we had to finagle it a little bit, but that was a pretty cool win. Okay, jumping into another game here. We're in a slightly uncomfortable spot where we have 2 green, but this is when the Jawari Disruption is pretty good to draw, because we can drop this turn 1 and then go Druid, and then we do have Syncopate or Omen, so I think this is a keepable hand. Not the most amazing hand we can get, but we are on the play, and on the play with the Syncopate, I think is still fairly powerful. And then we'll go ahead and do our turn 2 Druid, just like we wanted to. They can have their little 2-drop. It's got the good boy on the sleeves here. Maybe cast your second spell. So this is the double spell deck. Doesn't ever seem like this would be strong enough, but then you play it and it feels like it kind of does some stuff. So it just is so hard whenever you play a bunch of 1-drops and then all of a sudden your hand's empty. It is a second spell, so this one's a cast trigger, but this one's not. So what I'm considering is, do I counter or do I ambush her? I think at most this becomes a 3-3 and this becomes a 3-3, which makes it very vulnerable to our ambusher. So I think we're fine to let that happen. Oh, and it only makes this one bigger. We are totally fine. Yeah, I think the ambusher is going to murder this guy. So that's quite good. Yeah, I think we're in a really good spot still. Then we just put down this, and we're not ready to swing in with our ambusher yet, because he's got a bunch of power up there. But building up a couple wolves, and he is really in trouble. Clarion Spirit. I think it's worth... another 2-2. Let's see. I think we do X3. I think a Clarion Spirit's fairly powerful considering he's trying to go wide. I think we just counter it. If he has a second spell, so be it. Any other 2-drop is not going to be absolutely game-breaking. Luminarch Aspirant would be pretty bad to see, just because it would start getting a lot of value, and that's fine. We're not worried about that. Not worried about that one bit. I don't really think we need the Druid. I think we just send in our 1 Woof and let him take 3 or take damage. We'll create another Woof, and we're in a pretty good spot. We have the option to Omen. We can even puff up the Ink Druid if he just swings in with everyone. Might not be a terrible plan. I think we're in a pretty good position. The board seems fairly neutral in terms of permanence, but we just have a lot more going on, and I mean, he's going to have trouble getting anything else down around us while we just start pumping out wolves. So, Clarion Spirit, I think at this point I'm pretty fine just trading a Wolf for a Spirit every turn. So I'm really just holding up my counterspell for like a Doomscar or something that would really, really be a problem for us. I think this is better than giving counters to the Druid. Don't need that, but a Mystic is quite good. Give us another body and another counterspell. Then we'll go ahead and take our turn, and this gets us to a good chunk of mana. And just like before, we're fine throwing these wolves in, make him play defense or take the damage. And he doesn't really have any favorable blocks. He can double block there, and then after that, the amount of favorable blocks that he has is really low. I mean, lucky for him, if he can get a double spell, yeah, even these aren't really great. This was his best card for double spelling to at least give him some spirits, but I think we're just in too powerful of a position here. I don't see him coming back from this. Spellbinder's solid, but Frilled Mystic is better in this case. So that's, I mean, that just feels like the game, right? Like, these aren't getting him any more value by double spelling. They're not the right cards. If he would have had, you know, 3 Clarion Spirits instead of 3 of these, sure, maybe. But at this point, we're just going to still be rolling. I think we'll go ahead and take one more turn, being conservative and not sending in the Ambusher. But then after that, we just go all in, I think. Already, he would have to trade 2 of these for this, so we could probably win. But, you know, we're in such a powerful position with the Disappear and the Divide. Being able to hit any 2 spells they have, basically, there's really no reason for us to send the Ambusher. We can just take 1 extra turn and be diligent and get the win for sure. Spellbinder, no thanks. Just for fun, I'll take the Mascot Exhibition just to show off a little bit. Now we're just goofing off. Make a bunch of tokens, swing everything, and say, sorry my friend, that's the L for you. He could still draw like a Doomscar and just absolutely wreck me, but we'll see what he's got. 2 damage left. That would be pretty funny if he board wiped, actually. Okay, so that's not going to be enough. That's the game. Very nice. Good game. A Gemishio. Good game. So, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Simic Flash, one of my favorites. Let me know what you thought in the comment section. Have a nice day, my friend.